What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 28th day of December. Here we are sitting at about $0.00465 with roughly 7 hours left in this week. We've also got about 3 days and roughly 7 hours left in this month as well. Closing what will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th month in a row to the downside. This will be our 8th red month in a row to the downside, and our potentially 12th red week in a row if we come down about 1% today. But if today we close here or higher, we officially get our first green week. We haven't seen a green week, you guys, in, at this point, 12 weeks. This was 12 weeks ago, last time we had a green week. And, well, it wasn't really that exciting then. We haven't really had exciting green weeks since June, but nonetheless, the end of a red era is potentially dawning here. And that's something to get excited about a little bit, but I just wish that it was more than a less than 1% gain. Again, 7 hours left in this day. There's a strong chance that we go lower still. Probably just as strong of a chance that we go lower that we go higher, right? 50-50 if we close this week red or not. Let's see. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and see if we can figure that out on the short term, okay? I don't know if I said it, but hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. This is the Coinbase chart. And Coinbase has the most liquidity. What is this? This is new. What is this? Well, that's kind of nice. I've never seen this. What are technicals? Oh, look at that. Oscillators are saying buy. Moving averages saying sell. Summary saying sell. Interesting. Simple moving average is saying buy on the 10. Momentum, MACD. Well, the MACD is very bullish, yeah. Most of these indicators are saying sell. Most indicators are lagging, though. So at the lows, you'll typically see sell. At the highs, you'll typically see buy. Look at how many of them are neutral, though, actually, as well. Anyways, interesting there, trading view. They've always had this stuff available, but that's just new, that little diamond thing there. Anyways, very mechanical, very, very spotty. You can see the price action here. You actually do have this, like, you have gaps just everywhere. Caps everywhere, man. And that's because even though it is the highest traded pair is on Coinbase for XCN, it's still very low liquidity. Very low volume environments here. So very mechanical price action. We do have a gap down here, technically at this low right here. And with that, typically, not financial advice, not a financial measure, but typically Coinbase doesn't like to leave gaps behind. You can typically only see these gaps. They're only available to see whenever you're on the 1 hour time frame. So there is a strong chance that we do go lower, that we do see a lower low. Even if we do close this week green, there is still a chance that we see a lower low, and it's something we have to prepare for. We look at the 1 hour time frame. These indicators aren't really going to help us because we've just been moving sideways. We've been moving sideways. We've been being boring. It's not going to help us. 4 hour time frame, same thing. We're moving sideways. We're being boring. Very neutral indicators all along the road there. So we look at our daily time frame to get any kind of influence at all, and we can see that on the RSI, we do have a little bit of an uptrend, which is nice. We've got these higher lows and these higher highs, kind of in this direct channel here. We could come back down and then find support. At the moment, I guess the RSI, it's neutral, but it's kind of got a bullish posturing to it. It is bearish overall, but at the moment, I don't know, I feel some bullish implications here. Stochastics are bullishly implied as well, though with that being said, for a while now, we have been finding resistance right here at this level. Look at how many times we found resistance right here, if not just a little bit higher. And the MACD overall is bearish, but we did cross red in this overall bearish environment. We had the smallest reading on the histogram that we've seen since July. It was a false cross, and now we're building bullish momentum. I mean, maybe my superstition with the 1 hour gap down here comes to fruition. Maybe we do go lower, or maybe the daily indicators are telling the truth here and we're actually about to move up. Something's going to happen. I'm going off of this because it very rarely leads me astray. It does happen. It's not perfect. I've been wrong with this before, but because of this gap down here, I am going to call for lower prices because of that, even in the face of the indicators. Now, if I wasn't looking at the gap, if I wasn't aware of that at all, and I was just looking at these daily indicators, I would be very bullish. And so much so, I'm kind of wondering. I feel like there's a decent chance that I could be wrong, that we don't go lower. But if we do go lower, I would expect it's a very short-lived experience. We're not going to be below this low for too long. We don't dramatically crash below this low. If it happens, we will be down there for a moment, and then we'll be back up, and we'll be at higher prices than we are now even. So whether we dump first and then we pump, or we just pump from here, regardless, we are, of course, assuming that OnyxCoin is at a low point. There's so many reasons why we assume that. Predominantly, most of our reasons, I would say, come from the fact that on a macro scale, we found support at prior resistance on this chart and the XCN BTC chart as well. Right? Finding support here at prior areas of resistance, finding support here versus Bitcoin at your golden ratio zone versus the US dollar at your golden ratio zone. Literally, you couldn't have tipped it any better. Look at how perfect that was. Right there at the golden ratio. We're very much expecting that OnyxCoin is going to move up from here, don't get me wrong, but again, could we see a lower low in the meantime? It's certainly possible. We look at the weekly MACD, still have bullish divergence there. We look at the weekly stochastics, there's bullish divergence there as well. We look at the weekly RSI, we are very oversold, very, very, very oversold. We're at the golden ratio, we're at these points of resistance. I think even if in our worst nightmares OnyxCoin is going into oblivion, we would at least get some kind of pump here. And again, referencing the XCN BTC chart, let's assume the same thing. Let's assume we're going into oblivion. I don't think we are. I'm very confident OnyxCoin sees new highs. I'm very confident it sees new all-time highs. Probably in Q1 or Q2 we see new all-time highs, but we'll get to that, at some point. For now, let's just focus on breaking out of this trend, okay? XCN BTC, let's pretend it does go to oblivion. Even if it does, we likely have a move up that would take us to the 0.5382 area, right? From here. It's very common to go from your golden ratio to your 0.5382 area and then down if you're working down. It's also very common if you're working up to go to this area and then move up, and then you break above your 236 and then you move up, right? So it's going to happen one way or another. We look at the current price versus Bitcoin. That's a 62% pump at a minimum to 143% pump at a maximum. This green line isn't really anywhere that makes sense to stop, right? Your closest points of support are right here, and that'd be about an 80% pump from here. It's about 72% pump from here. We line this up with the high to low fib here. Let's actually do this first so that we don't have so much noise. I'll put a white line here at the 382 and a 0.5 here, a white line there at the 0.5. That way we understand where our likely range is. Whether we go up, whether we go up and then we go down, we're likely not just going to keep plummeting from here nonstop. I mean, that could happen, but I doubt that it does. But it could happen. You never know. Likely we stop somewhere in this range. Now, with that understanding, high to low, a standard retracement from here typically would be the 382. And there's a lot of sense to be made with the 382. And typically with the 382, you wick a little bit above it. What's just above this 382? Prior points of support. What's right at this 382? Prior points of resistance. It actually makes a lot of sense that we'd stop there. Not so much at the 236. I doubt that we do. There's not really a whole lot of in the way of making sense to stop there. If we do, that'd be problematic. But even there, that's a 60% pump versus Bitcoin. The US dollar pair would likely then see something larger than a 60% pump, right? We look at a 60% pump here. I mean, it might make sense then that we see an 80% pump. We find resistance at these points of support. At a bare minimum, we're going to like 0.0088. We're at 0.00464 right here. So that's sizable gains, growth that we can count on in a very short amount of time. But that's like the most pessimistic minimum that I don't think is possible at all. I don't think it's likely at all. It's possible. I don't think it's likely. The most likely outcome is that we either stop at the 382 or we wick just above it, which is pretty damn common, and then we find resistance at this prior area of support and resistance here. So that would most likely imply then a 113 to 135% growth versus Bitcoin, XCN BTC, 113 to 135% versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin is likely not moving down while XCN is moving up versus it. If OnyxCoin is growing in value versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin's likely not dropping, Bitcoin's likely pumping too, which would then mean that the US dollar price doesn't pump 135%, it pumps more than that. It doesn't pump 113%, it pumps more than that. And from the current level, 113%, I mean, roughly, would put us at a cent. Statistically speaking, guys, we are very, very likely to go above 1 cent, right? Right here, if we did a 130% move, that put us right here at about 1.05 cents, just at these lows where we could find resistance. I don't think we stop there, but it's possible. If we go all the way up here, about 190%, that makes a little bit of sense to me, especially if we see 130% growth versus Bitcoin, something like this. That's at our prior areas of resistance here. Regardless of how high we go, where we go, we're at $0.00465 now. The assumption here is that we've got absurd weekly bullish divergence on our XCN BTC pair on the MACD, both on the MACD and on the stochastics. We have bullish divergence on both of these. And we have a double bottom in the RSI. It's not bullish divergence, but it is a double bottom setup, at least right now, if we close this week green in the next 7 hours and 8 minutes. Even if we don't close the green, even if we close a little bit red, so what? We can close slightly neutral, slightly down, and then come up next week. It could still, even if we go a little bit lower, this is still somewhat of a double bottom down here in these very extremely oversold conditions. Even if you're not on board with me thinking that OnyxCoin will go to Valhalla, will see new all-time highs, will be vindicated, at least get behind the thought that we are overdue for some type of a relief rally here, or something that breaks the trend entirely and starts a new trend, which is what I think is going to happen. And that standard retracement should take OnyxCoin up somewhere around 1 cent to 1.5 cent, 1.4 cents, somewhere around there. And likely it will be very fast. Why do we know it will be very fast? There's no volume at all, right? With just a little bit of volume, we see days where in one day, in less than a 48-hour period, we pumped 48%. It doesn't take a lot of volume to pump a lot, right? These levels of volume are dramatically smaller than what we saw even on this pump back here, which is dramatically smaller than what we saw over here. These are very minuscule amounts of volume. If any kind of size comes in at all, it just seems large because relatively speaking, these are large spikes, but if we zoom out, they're really not. We see anything large at all, I'm telling you guys, we're going to straight teleport from here to there. And then everybody who's sold over the past 3 months is going to be scratching their heads. They're either going to FOMO or they're going to be feeling that punch in the gut feeling where you bought OnyxCoin here and you held all the way through and your stomach hurts and you're curling and you're like, dude, I had 10 grand in this, now I have 2.5 grand, I'm just going to sell for a loss. It can't get any worse, or if it does get any worse, I'm just getting out, I don't want to be a part of it. This will make it even worse. This will make it even worse. And there's going to be a lot of people who unfortunately made the wrong decisions. And it's going to be interesting, the psychological warfare that happens whenever we come up here. Because there will be people that are resistant. They're like, okay, well, this is just another pump like any of the other ones. Even though a pump of this size would clearly be different, right? Okay, but we had a pump of this size before and we still came down. So I'm just going to wait months and it'll still come lower, whatever. And then we keep moving up. There will already be a level of FOMO here. People are going to be feeling like they missed out because they sold at the wrong moment. We're breaking out, but the FOMO only gets bigger when we continue to move higher. And I have a very strong assumption that the majority of people who sold down here will be part of why we go up. Because these low liquidity environments, whenever all that money comes back in, it's going to move the price up like that. What took months to move down will take days to evaporate. I've got nothing else. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, please. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. I really do appreciate you all. I hope everybody's having a good time. I know that these times are not necessarily the best, but I hope everybody's having a good day, good life. You know, there's more than just the charts. If you're feeling absorbed by the charts, you're feeling absorbed by analyzing the crypto markets, take a week off. Just take a week off. I can't promise anything, but I'm very confident. If you went on vacation, if you went away, if you didn't look at the charts for 2 weeks from now, not a whole lot's going to happen. Maybe for OnyxCoin, maybe for Bitcoin Cash, maybe for some of the coins that we talk about here pretty regularly, maybe there's going to be some excitement, but for the space as a whole, probably not. Probably not at all. I mean, I would expect that we don't see too much movement in the crypto markets until probably the end of January. So if you've got like chart lag, you feel like a zombie, take some time off. Don't be a zombie. I'm committed. I'm not a zombie. I'm just a chart addict. So I just accept my addiction here. But if it's weighing you down, step away from the charts, man. There's nothing wrong. You're not going to miss anything. I'm very certain, especially if you're just buying and holding and you're not trading, which you shouldn't be trading. If you're, especially in these kind of environments, you shouldn't be trading at all. Really, such choppy, low liquidity environments. You are the profit to be taken. If you are trading right now, you're likely going to get screwed. There's a lot of professional traders that have been getting screwed lately, and it's because the markets are manipulated right now. It's such low liquidity. The only liquidity that's there are the margin trades, right? So it's easy to stop hunt these people. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. All I'm trying to say is if you go away for 2 weeks, you're not going to miss much, man. I'd bet a lot that you're not going to miss much. Maybe OnyxCoin in the next 2 weeks pops off. maybe we're exactly here, or we're somewhere around here, right? But soon enough, probably the second half of January, we'll start to rally, the whole space as a whole. So take this time to just relax, de-zombify yourself, get your mind screwed on right, and prepare for the next run ahead for Bitcoin, for OnyxCoin, for all coins in Q1. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye-bye.